We're now being joined by the head coach of St. John's, Chris Mullen, as well as student-athlete Shamori Pons and Justin Simon. We will start by opening the floor for questions for Shamori and Justin only at this point. Right here on the left.
John Fanta, Big East Digital. Shamari, what kind of didn't go right tonight?
I mean, we just ain't hit shots. We didn't shoot it well. I felt like we was playing good defensively down the stretch, but I mean, we just couldn't hit a shot.
Right here on the right.
Shamori, in your mind, when the gap gets big like that in the first half, it might have been 18. How does that have an impact on the way the rest of the game is going to play out?
I mean, it definitely has an impact, but I mean, with this group, we always been down big. Coach kind of compared it to the Villanova game when we got down big at the half and cut it back. We did the same, but we just couldn't get over the hump.
You're good. On the left.
Shamori, I know you thought a lot about last spring what you would do this year, and you came back. Do you think you know what you're going to do now?
No.
Could you see yourself coming back for another year?
No comment.
Justin, it seemed like tonight there were moments where you started to creep back in. What do you kind of attribute this loss to?
Really what Shamari said. I feel like we were fighting back, but we couldn't get over that hump. There's a little hump. Something would happen, a turnover or a missed box out, or a foul, something like that. And we couldn't really hit shots. We couldn't really hit shots throughout the whole game and really get our rhythm.
You're on the right.
Justin, the game tonight was, if not the lowest shooting percentage for your season, one of them. And the last game, I think, might have been the lowest. Is there a reason that the shooting hasn't been happening at the end of the season?
No, I don't think there's any reason behind it. It's basketball. Some games we're hot, some games we're not, and like you said, those past two games, I just think we weren't really hitting shots.
You're right again.
Shamori, did this year? How would you assess this season? You make the tournament, but you lose in the first four. There was some thought you guys could contend for a Big East title. That didn't quite happen. I mean, do you feel like you underachieved, overachieved? I mean, how would you rate this season?
I'll say this year was a great season. I mean, a lot of people doubted us. They didn't expect us to be here. But, I mean, I feel like overall it was a great season. We achieved a lot. And I'm not satisfied, but I'm happy.
You're right again.
Shamori, in terms of things that you wanted to accomplish at St. John's, I think probably at the top of the list was getting them back to the tournament. Even though you're disappointed right here, do you think that you will be able to look back at this season and feel pretty good about it?
Definitely. I feel like we achieved a lot of things. We won a championship early in the year. I'm happy with this group. We fought each and every night. Just unfortunately, we couldn't come out with the win.
To sort of follow up, how disappointing, can you find the words here to sort of explain to us how disappointed you are with the way that the team showed up tonight?
I mean, I'm not disappointed with the guys. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's life. You go through ups and downs. I mean, overall, this group, I'm very proud of this group. I love this group. So, I mean, I'm just happy with this group.
You're right.
After the Villanova win, it was probably one of the high points of the season. It looked like this team was really headed to big things, and you followed up losing 6 of 8. Could you pinpoint anything that happened after that game for why maybe you guys didn't keep soaring and maybe plateaued at that point?
I mean, I don't have no answer to it. I can't really hit it on the head, but I mean, it happens.
For Justin, you and Marv have been very close through the whole thing. I mean, Shamori also, but you guys went through that whole sit-out year together and seem very, very close as a result of that. he was obviously disappointed with not scoring in this game and not really sort of finishing. How much do you feel for him at the end of his last game?
Yeah, me, Marv, and Shamari, we all came here together. Marv does a lot of things that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. He affects the game in so many ways, and he helps us out when we mess up. He's our leader. He's a great guy. And, like I said, he did a lot of things that didn't show up tonight in the stat sheet, but he's a great player. He's going to give it his all. I know he has no regrets on tonight. I know he probably wanted to score, whatever, but he still affected the game for us and helped us in major ways.
Time for
Throughout
one
this
more.
whole year.
Any further questions? All right. Shamori and Justin, thank you. Congratulations on your season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we will open the floor for questions for Coach Mullen at this point. Yep, here on the right by the pillar.
I guess the place to start is, Chris, where do you think it was tonight? Where do you think things didn't go right for y'all?
Across the board. We had turnovers, uncharacteristic turnovers. And then I think we shot, 31%. It wasn't, layups, free throws. It was everything. So it was probably one of our worst games of the season overall. But I tell you what, I told the team, it was a really fun team to coach. It wasn't the most, consistent, but they were really, really good guys to coach. I really appreciated their work ethic and the way they showed up each day, whether we had a really bad loss or a good win. So I appreciated them, and got to give Arizona State a lot of credit and congratulations to Bobby Hurley and Arizona State. I think they played a good game. Pretty sloppy, both ways. 21 turnovers, 16 turnovers. Yes, we just couldn't get anything going. Even when we got a little spurt, we had a 2-on-1 and. We had a dunk and things like that. We just couldn't put anything together.
Here on the left.
Chris, can you reflect on what this group of guys has meant for you and your coaching tenure?
Yeah, so the guys up here, Justin, Shamari, and Marvin, the last 3 years, they've been a pleasure. They really have. I think they've conducted themselves on and off the court with class and dignity. They've all improved their basketball game. And that's through highs and lows. The way they've handled winning and losing with class and dignity. So that's something I appreciate about them. And I just wish we could have played better tonight. I wanted them to move on. I do think, if we would played a good game, we could give people trouble. So we've showed that, but it just wasn't meant to be tonight.
Here on the aisle.
Chris, like I asked the guys, since that Villanova game, you guys had lost 6 of 8. What did you notice that kind of led to maybe the team not playing its best the last month or so?
I'd have to think about that. I can't really even remember the last game, quite frankly. That fluctuates. It fluctuates within games. You're talking about. We didn't play well at all tonight. We had some type of flurry. I don't know where it came from. We scored 40 points in the second half. I don't know how. We shot 30%, missing free throws, layups, but they tried hard to stay in the game. And, so I'd have to really kind of go back and think about it. I can't really even remember who those last 8 games were, to tell you the truth.
We'll go here and then on the aisle.
Chris, I know that Shamori hasn't said that he's made a decision or anything, but if this was his last collegiate game, how do you think people should take a look at and assess the career he had at St. John's and what he did?
Yeah, let's be sure to make – I'm not, declaring him one way or the other. I don't want to get – No, I said it yesterday before. He's had an incredible 3-year career, one of probably the best 3 years of any player. I don't know what those numbers are. I don't really follow all that stuff, but he's been an incredible player, had a huge impact on our program, on the school, I think, in New York. I think people love him. He's a kid that stayed home, and he's been so good statistically. I think a lot of times his improvement gets overlooked. I was telling Mike yesterday, he's really improved in a lot of areas, and he's handled everything, I think, with class and dignity. He's just a sweet kid. Quiet, but he's got a great heart, and he works hard, and I want nothing but the best for him. And I think he's going to go down as one of the best players in St. John's history. Times like this, like I told him in the locker room, it hurts. It stinks to lose. I've sat in a locker room plenty of times at every level of basketball. So this one stings and it hurts. But these guys, as days go by, and they'll appreciate what they did here. And they should be, proud of themselves.
Good. Sure, yeah.
Chris, because you have the knowledge and experience of having been an NBA executive, regardless of what Shimori decides as far as for next year, do you take a look at him and say, this is a guy who's ready?
I'll get him all direct feedback from every GM and owner. He'll get direct feedback from everybody in the NBA, just like we did last year. He'll get the direct information from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Last one here in the aisle.
Two things, Chris, if I could. First off, there were a couple of times in the first half where you looked over at you, and it was almost like you were just stunned by what you were seeing, to the point where, I guess the question is, did you expect you guys to come out and play well? And the way they played was kind of just puzzling to kind of figure it out?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was stunned. I was, I wouldn't say disappointed. Yeah, a little bit just kind of surprised, I would say. Just simple plays that I've seen our guys make, each and every day, whether it be in shoot-around or practice, just very uncharacteristic. Yeah, and as the game wore on, it was something we just had to play through. And it just, sometimes you start a game and you start off slow or whatever, and you find your rhythm. We never found it at all. And yet at one point, I think we're down 7 points, with the chance to lay a ball in. So, yeah, it was, I would say more surprised. I didn't think, yelling or kicking or screaming was going to do anything. It was something we had to play through. So that I felt kind of helpless in a way, but more surprised at just simple things that we do pretty well on a regular basis. Just wasn't there tonight.
Chris, thank you.
Well, you got one more. He's royalty in New York.
Just going back to Shamar a little bit, do you find yourself kind of playing two parts here? Because obviously him being back would benefit you next year as the coach of this team, and yet, you're obviously loyal to the kid, and you want to be able to give him the best advice you can.
That to me, that's a simple one. I sat on the other end of that as a GM and talked to college coaches. It's really where he stacks up with the NBA. It's got nothing to do with me. The good things, I know all the GMs and mostly all the owners, so I just want him to get all the direct, legit information for him to make a smart decision. But as far as like I said, when a kid's ready, I'm all in. He needs to go if he gets, if it's going to be the right decision for him.
Chris, thanks.
Thank you.